So what we've actually got here is the Jaguar XF Sportbrake. It's got a bit of a mouth-filling title in total. It's the XF Sportbrake R Sport, which sits round about middle of the range within the XF. It's not overly lavishly equipped, but it certainly has an accent on menace and sporting and style. This one is based with the Ingenium engine. For those of you who don't know, this is the first of Jaguar's own power units in recent years, built at a purpose-built factory in Wolverhampton. 1997 cc, 250 PS of power from a 4-cylinder 16-valve turbo, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So as far as the other power statistics are concerned, you've got 1 Newton meter of power for every day of the year. 365 Newton meters of power, matched to 250 PS at the top end of the rev range, and it's matched to a very well-known and proven Jaguar gearbox, which is manufactured by ZF, which is an 8-speed fully automatic. You have 2 patterns of shift. You have your normal drive mode and you have sport mode, which alters your kick down speeds, clings onto the gears and that sort of thing. And also, for those who prefer to do it by themselves, we've got these rather nice little aluminium paddles on the steering wheel, which, for the record, it's a good steering wheel as well. People don't talk about steering wheels enough, but this is just right. It's chunky, it's grippy, it's well padded, it's leather trimmed, and for those who are familiar with Jaguar Land Rover products, the buttons are exactly the same as they are with all the other cars in the Jaguar Land Rover range. So it makes no difference whether you start off with a Jaguar XE or go up to the top of the range Range Rover. The in-house font is still the same. It's got an 8-speed gearbox, so you've got a full octave of speeds. And if you drive it off the boil as we are now, we're driving through leafy Sussex at a nice steady 30-35 miles an hour, the gear changes, they're basically unnoticeable. So even though the accent of the car is on the sporting, at this sort of speed and in this kind of environment, it's no different to any other premium car. It's a very nice place to be. Ride comfort's pretty good. Visibility is reasonably good. The steering, the feel at the rim, considering it's an electronic power assisted steering setup, is probably one of the best that you're going to find. It's nowhere near as direct and as positive and as communicative as you used to get with the old traditional hydraulic assisted steering. Jaguars of old, the steering almost used to be like braille. The car used to talk to you through the rim of the wheel and you could feel everything. They've lost a little bit of that over recent years, but this is as good. Really is as good as you're going to get. So for ambling around the town, it's absolutely fine. It's got a slightly firmer setup than your standard XFs. It's sitting on 19-inch rims and the suspension is a little bit firmer than normal, but it's quite forgiving. The seats have got plenty of support in the cushion. There's a fair bit of depth to the padding. The bolsters, you can feel the bolsters massaging your ribs as you go through the corners, but they don't pin you in. But when I say they don't pin you in equally too, you don't fall out of them. It's got a dual zone climate control system, and once again, if you've come across other recent Jaguar Land Rover products, the display for your climate control system is something that you're going to be used to. You've seen it before. It's a nice simple car, even though it's packed with technology. You can jump in and out of it and it's easy to fathom. I've had to refer to the owner's handbook once in all the time I've had the car, and that was to work out how to operate the interior lights, as they weren't coming on when the door was opened. So So we've got a function called eco data. Now what you do is it tells you whether you've been a good boy or a bad boy or a good girl or a bad girl. So we've just done 2.9 miles from one side of town to the other, and we've got 5, and a late result from the Russian judge, 5 there. So we've got 5 out of 5 for control of brake, accelerator, beg your pardon, 5 out of 5 for control of speed, 5 out of 5 for actual control of my brakes. I've got 100%, it tells me I'm top of the class to give the pencils out, but I've still only done 23 to the gallon. But you can come out of that as well and go into history, and it will give you a little rundown of your previous journey. So like I said a moment ago, 100% for that, and then 36 and 38%, that was when we were doing the drive-bys, 40%, 7%, and 96% is the trophy. I still haven't had my prize yet. That is the plant, 1997cc, 2-litre Ingenium, 4-cylinder, 16-valve, variable geometry, turbocharged. I think there's a little bit too many cable ties on offer, too many slightly loose fitting bits of pipe work, too much bits of cable here, too much insulation tape on offer. My word, that's hot. Engine cover's good, but it's this, you see, this is the difference when you're moving from, say, an Audi or a BMW or a Mercedes to something like the Jaguar. Yes, the Jaguar is a little bit cheaper, but there again, it has to show in some areas, and I think the underbonnet view is, I wouldn't say it's messy, but I would say it's here where you can see the cost reduction in the car. But at the end of the day, if you're sick of that messy view, it's gone. Jaguar Land Rover facelifted the car a couple of years ago, and one of the criticisms was a slight lack of rear leg and foot room. So what they've actually done is they've put a little bit more of a noticeable ramp to the cushion to almost placebo you into thinking there's actually a lot more leg room than what there actually is. But the seat's set for me, and I'm sitting in the back. I'm 5'10" and quite long in the leg. It's not too bad. Elbow room is pretty good too, and there's a really nice expansive padded armrest here with 2 cup holders in it. This model also features heated seats for the rear, and the passengers have got their own vents. No separate heating controls, but you have got fresh air vents. As far as cargo space is concerned, you're looking at 565 litres with the seats up, and just short of 1700 with the seats down. So that's well on a par with all of its rivals, in fairness. So I suppose it's around about this time of the day that we do the dreaded overall conclusion. What do I think? You know what I think. It's a lovely car. It looks absolutely fantastic. It's a proper driver's car too. And not only that, it's blessed with good fuel consumption figures as well. On the subject of figures, I've mentioned already, 565 litres of boot space, rising to 1700. And it's pretty useful too. You can use most of that space. The floor is flat. With its 40-20-40 split rear seat as well, it's got the practicality. Other figures, well, it's 155 grams CO2. That's possibly 2 or 3 notches higher and more expensive than its nearby rivals. But there again, it's a few £1,000 cheaper than a lot of its rivals. So in that respect, you pays your money, you takes your choice. But otherwise, it's well equipped, it's very refined, it handles superbly. We're looking at a combined fuel consumption figure of around 41.5. I think you can actually do better than that. 0 to 60, the manufacturers claim, should you want to drive that way, 6.7 seconds. Look at the size of that. That's a 2-litre, 6.7 seconds, 150 miles an hour top speed. But overall, a great driver's car, better than ever build quality, well planned load space, a decent amount of interior room, reasonably well equipped, stylish, fast and thoroughly enjoyable. Should it be on your list for a performance estate car? I'm not going to say anymore. There we are, folks, the £42,500 XF Sportbrake R Sport. I'll move aside so you can have one last look.